Anyone can start a blog, but actually starting a blog that makes money in 2025, that takes strategy. It's not about posting randomly or copying what you were doing or someone else 5 years ago. You need to treat your blog as part of your business from day one. Hi, I'm Francesca.
And I'm Victoria. And in today's video, we are going to share everything you need to know about how to start a blog and make money online. So, from picking a profitable niche, creating content online, and of course, making income, we are going to share all the steps you need to know. So, let's get started. Now, odds are, if you watched our previous video, you already know how you can get your blog up and running for $50 or less. But if you decide to go for the premium option, that is $150 or less. So, I know we've talked about the money, but we want to spend a little bit more time getting into niching, content creation, and of course, getting you monetized because we are here to make money from our blogs, right? Because we're blogging for that extra income. So let's talk a bit about niching. And I know everyone keeps saying you need to niche down, especially those plus creators who I just cannot with. But actually, in the age of AI with ChatGPT and just going into the future, niching down and only talking about that one main topic is not the way to go. I mean, Fran, why are people still doing this?
I think people just don't like change. And when something has worked for them in the past, they stick with it and they just don't have the flexibility really to adapt. And it did work for a really long time. I feel like that was the name of the game, was niching down and just don't deviate, don't show anything personal. And if you wanted to talk about something else, you had to open another blog. And I feel like the days of that are completely over. I think that people really want to buy into you and all of the things that make you a human and a person. That's what's going to make you stand out from AI, especially. So you really need to find a niche that is basically very curated to your persona.
100%. And actually, we are very heavy on picking three main topics and two side topics. So we gave numerous examples in our previous video. So I'm going to pick a new one. So let's say you are into painting and you love sharing your art. Maybe your side topic can be something about why you started painting. So maybe it's for mental health, or maybe it was for an escape, because life is lifing sometimes. Really expand on your why and your how and take readers along with you on the journey. Then you can also add in some seasonal things in the mix because I think seasonal is fun, right, Fran?
Absolutely, absolutely. Go with the season and go with what feels good. And maybe some of the things that maybe there's something you particularly like to do when it's summer and you're going to incorporate that. And I think people are going to come to expect that. Maybe it's a road trip you go on or some kind of family vacation and you're bringing people along for that whole journey. Or maybe it's even gardening. I mean, there's different kinds of things you're going to have to do based on seasons, and you can incorporate something related to that with each of those seasons. So I think always bringing something new and relevant and keeping things fresh is important.
Yes, and also put your personal life in the mix. So if you're a nine to
Mhm.
five girly watching this and you're also doing a baking blog, talk about what it's like baking when you're working a 9 to 5. I mean, are you getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning? Are you staying up late at night? Make your blog post all about that. So one could be how you stayed up way too late baking chocolate chip cookies because you're about to lose your mind because your boss is a hot mess. Stuff like that is super, super, super relatable. Or how you wake up at 4 a.m. and bake before your children wake up. So I'm just saying, infuse your personal life into your niche because, again, in the age of AI with ChatGPT and every other chatbot out there, people are not buying information, they're buying your experiences. So definitely lean into that with niching.
And also be authentic. I think it's really important. Going back to the 9 to 5 example that you just said, working 9 to 5, it reminded me of this big explosion of like drama that's happened with one super big content creator. And his main niche was working a 9 to 5 and how he didn't really need to get into wanting to be an entrepreneur or wanting to be his own boss and all of this thing. So he built his platform on the fact that he was a 9 to 5 guy and like that was his authentic self creating content. So that was the people that he attracted, the people that connected with him. And then once he became really successful and he started making a lot of money, now he became a trying to sell you coaching or courses or whatever. And everyone has turned on him. So I think there's also something to be said for making sure that you're picking something that is very authentic to you. Don't create something just because you think it's something that's going to be profitable or something that is the right thing for you to be in because it has a high RPM or it's very easy for you to like break into it. Make something that is genuine to you and something that's going to have longevity for your channel.
100%. And other examples, because listen, I love my 9 to 5 girlies. Okay. So hello, hello. But you could also be someone who just moved to a new place because my current blog, I started it when I moved to Florida, which again, it wasn't just a new state for me. It was a whole new country. So maybe you moved to a new town. Maybe you moved to a new state. Maybe you moved to a new country. Maybe you started a new job. Maybe you're fresh out of college or uni. Maybe you never went to college or uni. Maybe you're a new mom, or maybe you just got married and you have bonus children and now you're navigating that space. So I'm just saying, really lean into your personal experiences, whatever they may be, and speak to your audience from that lens, because that's how you're showing up in your content differently. Because there's so many different ways you can really niche
Yeah.
within yourself, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're finding who you are, what you're doing, what you're loving, and creating content around that.
And another thing that I think it's important, and it's kind of like the advice that pretty much everyone used to give, is that you should be blogging about something that you know. So it sets you up as the authority figure or the expert in that topic at whatever level you're at, but you're still setting yourself up as the expert up to that point. And I think that it's also valid and important to just be someone that is learning or going through an experience. So both points are valid, both points are important, and both points will have an audience.
And full disclosure, we are not experts. Okay, we are not experts. We just have a combined 28 years of blogging experience. So we have a couple steps ahead of you. But also in the age of AI, it's also like starting over as well. So you are learning and growing with us, because something we are saying now, we might not be saying next year or next month or next week. We are just going where the content flows and where the audience lives. So we are not positioning ourselves as experts. You will never get a course being sold to you here. Nothing like that. Again, I think something should be said for learning and growing and evolving. You don't need to put yourself on a hilltop telling everyone down there what to do. Okay?
Yeah.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so now that we've talked about finding your right niche and how you can come at content from your own unique lens, we need to talk about the money bit, okay? Because we are all here blogging to make money. That is the goal. That is the name of the game. This is not a personal diary for us. We're here for the coins, okay? So, with that in mind, the first thing you really need to think about is passion. The next step is profit, and then what you are proficient or learning in, which is kind of picking up from where Francesca left off. So, I actually think the best thing you can do is make a list of everything you are passionate about, all the things you want to learn. I think that is also very important, but the passion has to be there, because you're going to be talking about this all day, every day, 365, 24/7. Then you're going to have to analyze what is profitable. And Fran is going to talk to you more about that, because you have to find that profit intersection, because full disclosure, we have blogs, or blogs are making us money. However, we really weren't thinking about profit from the beginning, and you need a monetization plan from day one. So that was kind of our mistake, and we want to save you from yourselves. So Fran, let's talk about the passion, the profit, and then we can get into, what you're an expert in, but also what you're learning.
Yeah, I definitely think you need to have passion for what you're going to talk about, because you don't want to lose interest at some point. Like, say you're creating content for 6 months and then you're like, you know what, I'm bored about, playing guitar or whatever is the content that you're making. So you need to make sure you do have a passion for it, because you're going to be in it for the long haul. Remember, this is not a quick thing. You got to stick it out. You got to have patience. And that means you got to keep creating content. So you got to have passion for what you're doing and what you're talking about. So that's number one. But we're all multi passionate people. You got to make sure that thing that you're passionate about has ways for you to make money. Now, you're not leading with, I'm going to make a blog because this has super high RPMs, but you do need to make sure that what you love and what you want to talk about has some ways for you to monetize, and ideally more than one. So you don't want to just rely on something that has high RPM for ad value, but you also want to make sure that you have other ways that you can monetize that audience. And we're going to get into exactly what those ways of monetization are, but definitely that should be part of your plan. And if the thing that you were thinking to lead with does not have a way for you to monetize, maybe that is where those interests that we told you to kind of build your niche around, so you're going to have a couple of topics, maybe that is where those come in, which is kind of where Victoria and I lean into with the niche that we picked, because it doesn't have a lot of options for monetizing that specific topic that we are blogging about. So we need to lean into some of the other things, the side things, in order to make revenue. So I think that that is important, and you can get creative, and it's totally fine if your main revenue comes from one of those side things, but that is why it's important for it to be part of your strategy, because you don't want to just bring that on your followers. All of a sudden you start talking about something else that has nothing to do with that, they were not prepared for, because you didn't build your brand with that, and then it's going to come across as disingenuous and as if you're just trying to make money.
100%, because people can smell a money grab a mile
Mhm.
away. Okay. And I don't like it. It is super cringe. And while we need to be cringe when it comes to creating content, we don't need to be cringe when we're asking people for money, because you
Mhm.
cannot be cringe. Okay. You cannot. So, my advice to you right now is make a list of everything you're passionate about, every single thing that you think you could talk about on end 24/7, 365. And then I want you to narrow those down to what shows up more in your everyday. Because this is actually something I was talking to Francesca about, which is, you know what? These things are showing up in my everyday. This is something I do at the same time, every day. This is something I can document for my blog. This is something I can share that is good side content that has a higher RPM. So you need to, again, list everything, narrow it down, see what's more organic, what you can be more consistent with. Because while one thing won't make you money, but a collection of other topics can. So that's important. And like Fran said, you don't need to be an expert. People can come with you on the journey as you are learning. So even if you're an epic failure, people can be like, okay, yeah, but now I see what it's like if I were to pursue this. But you can also spin it and say, look, this is what I learned when I tried this and failed epically. Can you imagine that blog post? I mean, that in itself sounds amazing and would be very interesting to read. So definitely think about that. But I really want us to spin into the monetization plan because we've said it numerous times already. You need a monetization plan from day one. And we have notes for this because we have a system, right? This is a 5-step income system because, again, we want you to make money from day one. So the first thing you need to think about is what kind of in-platform monetization can you offer? The two most popular ones are YouTube and your blog because, again, we're promoting blogging. So getting on an ad network is in-platform. And if you're creating YouTube like we are right now, when you are watching YouTube and you see ads, that's in-platform monetization. Fran, what is your feel on that?
I think there's a lot of people that feel icky about in platform ads, and all I can tell you is that you need to let go of that. You need to let go of the feeling of like, oh, I don't like ads on my site. And listen, as you grow, you'll be able to start on one ad network and slowly build up and get to better ad networks. And as you grow, you will have more control over where those ads show and how many ads show. So as long as you know that that is a process, and you will get to the point where you have control. But in the meantime, you have to have that monetization. It is literally the most passive income, and we will get into passive income lies because blogging is not passive income. Everybody always sells it as that. But however, the most passive income you're going to make from blogging is your platform ads. So you need to make sure that that is part of your strategy. You will never skip that. You're never going to hear us saying, oh, if you don't like, no, you have to put the ads on your site. And I think that a lot of people feel weird about that. They don't want to have the ads on your site. There's many things that happen, like, oh, what kind of ads are going to show? You're going to have really no control over that. There are certain levers that you can control as you get on better ad networks, but just know that when you're starting out and you're starting on the baby networks, you're going to have very little control, and you just have to go through it. It's kind of like your growing pains with the ads. Then you will actually be able to put them where you want, how much you want, have a little bit more control over what they are.
Absolutely. And as someone who's at the level where I can choose, because there's certain things I opt out of, but that is something you're going to grow into. But also, the reason this should be your very first monetization thing is because it's a low barrier to entry. So the first thing you should do when you're creating content and you get to the level where you can turn these ads on, you should, because you're not asking your audience for anything, right? But you're making money as you're creating content, and they understand that, hey, you're not doing this for fun. You're here to make money and you need to be compensated for your time. So that is something that is more commonplace. You won't really hear people complaining about it too much because they understand that's the name of the game because your audience is very smart. The second thing you need to get into is affiliate marketing. And this isn't random. We are giving you the exact order you need to go in. So step one, turn on those ads. Another good early option in the beginning is affiliate marketing. And the reason for this is that after you've been live for some time and your ads, again, your in-platform ads have been running, now it's good for you to recommend products to your audience. So the thing about it is you're recommending things to them, and if they buy it, you get a kickback. That's the thing with affiliates. So they are not paying extra to purchase it through you, and they're also not paying you money. They're going to a third party. So this is something that you use and you recommend. This is why this is important because, again, it's a low ask for your audience.
Probably the easiest program that you can sign up for is Amazon affiliates. So that's going to give you a wide variety of products that you can recommend. You can also get affiliates for a lot of the products and services that you already use directly from those companies. And you can also sign up for an affiliate network like LTK, Like to Know, or LTK. And that will also give you access to a lot of different websites with a lot of different products that you can recommend and get paid whenever someone buys from those.
Yes, so super easy, low barrier to entry. Then the next step is brand partnerships. Now, if you pay attention, we are being very strategic because before we got to brand partnerships, we're telling you to do affiliate marketing. The thing with affiliate marketing is when you sign up for a program with a brand you know, you use, you like and love them, so now you're recommending them. When you share those affiliate links, you can now track the reach. Now, when you reach out for brand partnerships, you can say, hey, brand, I have been recommending your products since insert month and year, and we have generated blank views and blank clicks, and we have earned X amount in, affiliate. Now we'd love to partner with you to take it to another level, yada, yada, yada. And boom, that is your pitch. As opposed to, oh, hey, brand, I love you, would love to recommend your products, da, 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 da. Trust me, they get a lot of those. But the first one, you are leading with your affiliate numbers. And I think that is crucial. And it allows you to stand out from the rest who are already pitching them and they're already looking at them sideways.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to build the trust from the beginning, from that company being wanting even to work with you. So I think your chances will go up. And also, I think don't wait for brands to reach out to you. I think that you do have strong chances when you pitch them. Just make a very well put together pitch, obviously with your numbers, with ideas even of what you would like to create, so that everything is already prepared for them to just make the decision of just basically giving you a yes, and everything is already there for you to just choose from, kind of like a menu. So just make it as easy as possible for them.
100%. The next step is audience subscriptions. So, if you've noticed, the first three, you never asked your audience for any money because you turned on in platform ads. They don't have to pay to consume your content. Then you gave them affiliate links. They don't have to pay extra to purchase products and support you. And then you went for brand partnerships where the brand is paying you directly. And again, your audience was not asked for a dime. Now, the fourth income stream is you asking your audience. Now, the odds are if you give all these steps time, you would have been building up an audience, but you're also building trust. So now you can ask them for money. And some of the things we have here include paid membership for exclusive content, community access, or monthly workshops. So this is where you're asking money for even extra access to you.
Yeah, and sometimes that is even in platform, right? For example, with YouTube, you can turn on memberships, you can give them early access to things, you can use platforms like Patreon, or even we talked in another video about you can have paid content on Substack as well. So you can get creative with what kind of access people get and what kind of content you give. I think a key metric or a key way to determine what you give for free and what you give for a paywall content is only about ease. So whenever you can make something easier or just they have more access to you, but I think a big thing for me is ease. Whenever you make things easier for them, it gives value. So think of ways that you can do that for your subscribers and or your followers, for your readers, and you will be able to give value to them and get those subscriptions.
100%. But I have to pause here to tell you a real story. So come closer, come closer. One of my biggest mistakes was trying to monetize my audience before I grew a big enough audience, but also nurturing them and providing them real value. I know it's easy to see other content creators just like, oh, pay me extra for this. And you're looking at it and you're like, they're barely providing anything, but people are signing up for their subscription like crazy. And then you're over here overworking, just doing the most and giving, 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 and not getting the numbers in subscriptions that you would have expected. Now, coming from a person who's grown an audience, the thing I've realized that I was missing was my audience really getting to know me. So it goes back to the know, like, and trust. I was a girl that was giving information, giving content, da 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 da, but I wasn't really building a relationship. So this is where I really feel community building is very important, and taking your audience behind the scenes with you and just sharing more about you, even if it's not too personal, but especially as it relates to creating content for them and just other little things that you're willing to share.
Yeah, I think that you set those barriers, right? We get so hung up on the fact, at least I know I do, on I want to keep privacy. I don't want to share everything. I'm not one of those oversharer peoples. You would never find me on the internet like sharing all of my family life and all of these things. And that is okay. When we say share your life and share your personal experiences, that doesn't mean you have to let people into every aspect of your life and they have to see everything. You set those boundaries, you set those limitations, and then people are used to that. People will adjust and they know what to expect from you and how much access they have to you, and they will be okay with it.
100%. Let me give you an example just to kind of bring this home. It's like if you are a baking person, so you're a baking blogger, you share recipes, and all you've ever done is share recipes, but you never really share the story of your grandmother is the person who taught you to bake, or your mom taught you to bake, or you're a 9 to 5 girly baking. Like knowing where it started is them getting to know you. Knowing your situation, you're a 9 to 5 girly, or you're a part-time girly, or you just moved and baking is your sanity. Like these are things that people can latch onto that are relatable. So again, when we're telling you to show up and share, again, and this is something I'm learning, these are the things that can really connect you to other people. Or you're the baking girly who also loves the garden. So again, those are the little things that people can get to know about you. And now, number 5, so So the next thing on your monetization list is products and services. This is where you can finally offer things you are creating and things you own. So merch is one, ebooks is another one. Maybe depending on your niche or your background, one-on-one coaching or done for you packages. So again, this is the last thing, and I mean very last thing. And you might be saying, Victoria, what do you mean it's the last thing? You're wearing your merch. Listen, I need a uniform to come record on here. It's one of my requirements of being consistent. So it just happened to be merch. So if you want to purchase, okay, link in the video's description. But the proper way, honestly, and in all intents and purposes and seriousness, this should be the very last thing, because now you're asking your audience for cold, hard cash
Mhm.
out of their pockets, right? That's why the last two is when you're asking your people for money. Now, it's one thing asking them money for exclusive content, because now they're used to you creating content. It's been years, they've been following you. So they know you're good for that. But now you're asking them to cough up money for things that you have to ship or services you have to deliver. That's a whole other level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that for something like that to work with your audience, there has to be already a lot of trust. And that takes time to build, and you will get that. There is no set time. Like, we're not telling you that you have 2 years before you get to a level where you can do that. That is going to depend on your individual journey. And you have to evaluate your audience, your relationship with that audience, how engaged they are with you, what kind of communication you have with them. So you will determine that in base of those interactions and your personal case. But that does need to be the process so that the trust is there before somebody says, yeah, I trust this person to give them X amount of dollars for this service, for this coaching. Or I trust that they will create a product that is of quality, that now I'm going to give them money and they will give me something of quality that I will not feel like I just wasted my money.
100%. So this is the reason we recommend this order. It's because you go from low barrier to entry to the ultimate ask, because also now you're asking them for more money, because the subscriptions could be as simple as $5 a month. However, like merch and stuff like that, now you're getting to $20. Coaching can be in the hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands. So be mindful of that. And like Fran said, you have to evaluate based on your own situation and your audience as well. Always keep your ear to the audience. Don't listen to people like us. Pay attention to your audience. That if I haven't learned anything, it is looking at my audience, not what other people are doing, and feeling like, oh, it's time for me to do this now because I put
Mhm.
in the time. No. Again, when I think back to every big mistake I've made, I wasn't listening to my audience. I wasn't asking my audience. Instead, I was imposing my will on my audience. And I said, well, I am doing this because I feel this way. That does not work. And this is from someone who's had years of experience with lots of mistakes. I've had good launches and I've had epic fails. And most times when I had a fail, it wasn't because of lack of, value or me doing things wrong. No, it was just not listening to the audience. All right, so kind of wrapping things together, you really need to get your mindset right, but also be patient and give yourself time to just execute and, show up to your audience in the best way possible.
Make your plan from day one, because you cannot think about how am I going to monetize after you are at the point where you feel like, oh, okay, I'm already there now. The audience trusts me. Now, how do I monetize this? Because maybe the options are going to be limited, which is what happened to us.
Yes, and you really don't want that to happen.
No.
But anyways, if you found any of this helpful, like the video, share the video, but also share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. I mean, if you've encountered any of these roadblocks, we'd love to hear from you as well. And if you're planning to do something amazing, we would love to cheer you on too. Now, if you haven't already, now is the perfect time to check out our previous video all about how to start a blog and doing so for under $50 a month. But if you want to go premium, it is going to cost you less than $150. So be sure to check that video out. So be sure to like this video, share the video, but also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.